Hi, I am River Lightbearer, your friendly neighborhood, non binary, compassionate catalyst, here to talk to you a little bit about channeling, specifically safety when it comes to connecting with your guides and channeling. All of us have guides. Guides are beings of higher energetic vibration that work with us or at least assist us. Some of them don't work directly with us because we don't know they're there, but they at least assist us with our spiritual growth, our life journey. They're here to benefit us, they're here to help. But there are other beings or entities that don't exactly have our best interests in mind. They're not as common as the beings that do genuinely want to help us. Most of the time, entities that don't want to help us just kind of ignore us and don't have anything to do with us. Just like if you don't like one of your neighbors, you probably don't talk to them. But there are some entities that will kind of screw with us just for the sake of screwing with us. There are some entities that actually have malevolent intentions and will try to cause harm. So even though generally connecting with your guides is a safe thing to do, there are some precautions to take and there are some things to keep in mind. First of all, when you have not yet consciously connected with your guides, it may be a wise idea to do that connection with the support and guidance of a trained channel and their guide. And that support and assistance could be direct working with that person, or it could be buying a book. But when you're working with a trained channel, by whatever value of working, their guides are supporting your connection with your guides, and their energy is helping to protect you from interference by beings or entities that might not actually be who you're trying to connect with. It's also important to remember that when you connect with your guides, when you channel, if you channel, it's all done by your free will. A genuine guide is never going to force you to have a conscious connection with them. They're there, they'll help you, but they may not do things unless you're actually asking. They might just kind of be there if you need them. And they will never force you to channel them. I know one person, when I was first talking to them about channeling the way I do it, they said, "Oh, I know what that is. I know somebody who has these beings that just kind of push them out of the way so that the being can talk through them." That's not good, because unless the human has agreed that that's okay to do, it's a violation of their free will. A genuine guide or a genuinely benevolent being will not mess around with our free will. If you have a being that's speaking to you and trying to force you to do things, and I mean force, like if they're being a little bit pushy about something that they think you should do, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because they might be just trying to get you to stretch your comfort zone. But if they're trying to force you into something, they're not a genuine guide. If they are insulting you, if they are putting you down, calling you names, they are not a genuine guide. I knew one person who had what she thought was a guide who constantly said things like, "You're so stupid, you'll never get anywhere if you don't listen to me." A genuine guide will never say anything like that, because they're with us to help and support us, not to make us feel like shit. Connecting with your guides are with you anyway, whether you're consciously connected or not. Consciously connecting with them can be of great benefit if you do it in a way that is safe, that is protected, that ensures that you are only connecting with your actual guides. Channeling can be a wonderful way to share that connection and the wisdom and guidance from your guides with other people. But again, it's something to learn to do in a safe way. None of this, as my guide said, and as I read in a book, I believe, it's not a party trick. It's not something to just decide on impulse, oh, I'm going to learn how to channel so that I can impress my friends and win valuable prizes or whatever. I don't know where that phrase came from. It's not something to do on a whim. It's not something to learn on a whim. And it's not something to just blindly plunge into without doing some reading, without talking to a trained channel. Hi, I'm a trained channel. I'll be happy to talk with you if you want to talk to me about it. But, it's important to remember that when you are dealing with a genuine guide, or when you're dealing with another being who is benevolent and trying to help you, even if they're not actually your guide, that's a safe interaction. But the entities that aren't necessarily looking out for our best interests can be a little bit sneaky sometimes. And if you just blindly plunge into trying to do this stuff, you run the risk of encountering one of those entities. Now, your guides are probably on top of the situation, and they will do everything they can to protect you from getting tangled up with a malevolent or not so good entity. But they can only do so much, especially if you don't already have that conscious connection, because free will. If your free will is, oh, this being that's speaking to me is telling me how amazingly, awesomely wonderful I am, and nobody else is as good as me, and that's why they want to work with me, so I'm going to work with them. And your guides might be saying, no. Guides won't stroke your ego like that. Don't listen. But you decide you're going to listen. Your guides can't do anything because they can't take away your free will. So that's why it's really important to actually learn about this stuff instead of saying, ooh, shiny, let me do this. And I know most of you wouldn't be all like, ooh, shiny, gotta do this right now. But some people are like that. Some people do kind of jump from one spiritual-ish practice to another without really taking the time to research and consider potential risks. Because there are, even in spiritual practices, there are risks. And no matter how high your vibration is, or how high you think it is, or how many good thoughts you think, you can't make risk not be there. All you can do is protect yourself from it and make sure that you are learning the proper ways to do things. So, if you're interested in connecting consciously with your guides, if you're interested in learning to channel, I strongly encourage you to seek assistance from a trained channel. That could be me. I would love to work with you. I really enjoy teaching people how to connect with their guides and channel, and that is something that I offer. But it doesn't have to be me just because you're watching my video. There are other trained channels who offer similar instruction. There are books The book Opening to Channel by Sanaya Roman and Dwayne Packer is the one that I currently strongly recommend, because the one that I used to recommend is no longer available unless you have $900 to spend on Amazon. I don't know why it's $900, but there you are. Uh, but you know, if you can't find a trained channel to work with, buy a book at least. Do your research. Do your do. That's a tongue twister. Do your due diligence and listen to your intuition about whether it's a safe process for you, whether the being or entity you're speaking to is a safe and benevolent being. Trust what you feel and take care of yourself. This isn't something that you have to learn how to do. If it doesn't feel right to you, don't do it. If it doesn't feel safe to you, don't do it. But there are ways that you can do it safely. And if you're interested in talking to me about it, leave a comment or check out my website, riverevolutions.com. And yeah, I love working with my guides, so I do encourage people to have that conscious connection if that's something that they want to do. But free will, you get to decide. That's it for this video. I will be back in a couple of weeks to talk more about safety and ethics. That can be a difficult topic. See you in a couple of weeks.